story opens with Slade Wilson out to prove he has enough marketable skills to go freelance by taking on an assignment to kill Bruce Wayne. He also knows the importance of having his own unique brand, so he decides to try out a costume. Meanwhile, the not-quite-there-yet world's finest team up to beat some metas dressed up like existing superheroes, who some of you might recognize as the evil future Teen Titans from Jeff Johns' run, although who did what is a bit unclear.
While I was containing the threat, Superman arrived on the scene. I directed him to provide support, focused primarily on crowd control and cleanup.
Superman quickly subdued the rampaging metas who were dressed as existing heroes. Batman arrived moments later and focused on crowd control and the subsequent cleanup. While the Man of Steel and the Dark Knight part ways, Fate, i.e. the writer, contrives to have them cross paths again. Clark and Lois are assigned to write a piece on a cruise ship passing through the Bermuda Triangle that Bruce Wayne just so happens to be on. Naturally, with either of the two lacking the knowledge of the other's secret identity, I'm sure they get along just swimmingly.
If you don't mind, I was here first, Wayne. I'm sorry. If you aren't carrying a drink tray or happen to be a gorgeous blonde, why are you speaking to me, Mr.? You must really explain it to me. Does the planet have an equal opportunity for hayseeds program? Hayseed. Jerk. Okay. Night, Lois. Until morning, Miss Lane. I will give you $1 million to throw yourself overboard. Up yours, rich boy.
Okay, things are a bit rough, but once again, Fate snaps her spindly fingers and gets them to work on their bonding, as thanks to an error in the computer system, our dashing duo end up booked in a single cabin. And I thought this was going to be boring.
You said it, Lois. Okay, this is just awkward. You think?
Don't worry, boys. Nothing like a purple portal pulling apart reality to break the tension. What the hell was that?
A badoom, I think.
You're a credit to the species, sir. If it ever starts raining, please remember not to look up with your mouth open. Sassy Lois Lane is best Lois Lane.
Meanwhile, at the shared cabin of Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne,
our heroes are about to jump into action, only to notice the other not panicking or getting out of the way. Finally, having had enough, Batman tries to tranquilize Superman, only for the dart to bounce off his skin. As the world's greatest detective and the hero with super intelligence finally put two and two together, who should suddenly make his appearance but dead? Regretting having signed on a gig without knowing the full details and the promise of being paid afterwards, Deathstroke vents his frustration by chucking a grenade into the cabin.
Meanwhile, back on deck,
who should Lois encounter but the crime syndicate? Well, Ultraman and Owlman, who mistake Lois for Superwoman until Owlman discovers it isn't her via rather unorthodox means.
You're not Superwoman.
My tonsils must have given it away. Superman flies to the rescue and sees how he might have turned out in another life.
I am one handsome devil. Hey, could you kiss Lois? I want to watch what it's like from this side. Is it just me, or is there something really hot about this?
Bruce isn't having too much of a fun time either, getting lassoed by the real Superwoman, shot at by Slade, nearly having his identity revealed to Lois by Owlman, and worst of all, having to endure the rescue attempts of... However, with the power of prep time, Batman manages to get away, and eventually things devolve into an all-out brawl. And then things get even weirder.
Then, an army of slightly confused purple-winged Thanagarians drop from the sky, locked in battle with 36 Cybertronic Blackhawks in a beak-on-beak dance of death. Much blood was shed, and yeah, it was hot. Mogo stopped by just to say hi and to get back the Pyrenees Earth had borrowed 97 trillion years ago. If you don't ask, the Earth never remembers to give stuff back. But Mogo saw what was going on with the heroes and the anti-heroes and just said he'd check in later. After my stories are done, it's cool. I don't need them until Thursday. Darkseid played chess with Ambush Bug. Ambush Bug won and accidentally destroyed the universe with the ultimate clapper. Then Crypto woke up, happy to realize it had just been a terrible dream. After a rousing round of roughhousing, our participants realized that the rift between worlds is closing, with them caught in the middle. Unfortunately, with Ultra Doofus still itching for a fight, Superman can't break free. Switch opponents? You read that in Metahuman Combat for Dummies. If you have a better idea, you don't have to be obnoxious about it. I do, and I do. Batman's plan involves Superman taunting Ultraman and getting him to fly after him out of the rift, thus creating a wake that drags the ship with it. Meanwhile, to wrap things up, Deathstroke compares backstories with his doppelganger, and just as he begins to contemplate whether or not the universe forced him into surviving in this gig-based economy, Batman thanks Totally Not Deadpool as he tries to introduce himself one last time. As Superman and Batman begin to establish their budding bromance, Lois shows up to ruin the mood. But before she manages to get definitive proof, Clark switches the two of them into their civilian clothes. Though I think he still might be not over the hayseed comment. But wait, who hired Slade to kill Bruce in the first place? Well, who else could it be but the dastardly fiend, Mr. Mxyzptlk. Mr. Mxyzptlk. Mixie. Who?
No. The question is, why? Simple. The original Superman 76, where these two met? Blech. Too quaint. It needed more melodrama, more angst, more alternate selves knocking the stuffing out of each other. Dan DiDio approves. I mean, he says it himself.
Best story ever.
That's all, folks.